It's been long enough. It's time to review Splatoon Raiders. Man, this game is something else. I could never have expected, especially once it was announced, how incredible this game would be. I won't spend much time on this, but my personal history with Splatoon is a really fun and fond one for me. Back in 2017, when I got my Nintendo Switch, a lot of you know that story. My Switch, oh man, I wanted Splatoon so bad, but I didn't get it until Christmas of that year. So that was my big Christmas gift to get Splatoon 2. I think I even have a picture. I'll put it up on screen if I have it. But this baby Ray wanted Splatoon 2 so bad, he got it and he geeked out on that game. I love Splatoon 2. Splatoon 3 came a few years later. Of course, Octo Expansion was huge. It was absolutely masterful, and Octo Expansion is still to this day my favorite Splatoon piece of content. Splatoon 3 was awesome, like I said, and then there was DLC for that. Side Order, that gameplay is the most fun in the series, I think. I love Splatoon, but for whatever reason, it's never been a franchise that sticks in my head as one of Nintendo's best of the best, probably because it doesn't get as much hype over here in the West as it does in Japan. Splatoon sells tens of millions of copies every single game it releases compared to the amount of people that are on its consoles, and still, for whatever reason, it just isn't in my mind registered as something I need to get super hyped up for, especially as I'm getting older and blah blah blah, and things aren't as easy and fun for me to get my head into. So when I got Raiders, I honestly could not have been less whelmed. I was just like, okay, another Splatoon game, let's see what's going on here. It's single player focused. I like the campaigns fine enough. Let's see what they got. And what they got was much better than I could have ever anticipated. This gameplay is something else. But first, let's start with the story. How do we end up here? What's going on in this game? Well, you've got Shiver here. Shiver is a big part of this crew, a big member of Deep Cut. She is a really, really fun and tsundere type of personality. I love seeing her more in this game. Then you've got Fry. Fry is outgoing. She is very much rambunctious and flamboyant. She's in your face and she's really, really funny. And of course, who could forget Big Man? Big Man is big and he's really, really funny. He's very shy, to be honest with you. He doesn't want to go out of his way to do all of these different things, but he sticks with his crew because he's loyal. These three members make up Deep Cut, a idol group that basically sings a lot of songs in this world and is very, very famous. They're the ones we followed throughout Splatoon 3, and up until this game, I really did think that they were the weakest idol group of all three. I really feel like Splatoon 3 just did a very poor job of showcasing these characters and making them the highlight. In Splatoon 1, it was all about Callie and Marie. In Splatoon 2, then we got both Pearl and Marina. They are so great. Their dynamic, especially in Octo Expansion, is just amazing. You cannot write characters better than those two. In Splatoon 3, the campaign was focused in more on Callie, Marie, and Pearl and Marina in both the main game's campaign and then in Side Order's DLC. We didn't get a lot of Deep Cut, and so I was like, these are just kind of they're whatever. But this game, man, they do a really, really solid job of making you care about Deep Cut, each and every one of them. Not just them as a little group, but them as individuals, and that is something I'm very thankful for, because in the opening cutscene, I was a little bit worried because here they are in this big plane, right? And they're going to the Spiralite Islands, and these islands are supposed to be harboring some sort of crazy treasure. These guys are raiders. They're going from island to island. They're going from place to place on their vacation, trying to get as much loot and salvage as they can to sell. They're money hungry and they're proud of it. And in the beginning, I was just like, man, they're gonna do the same old thing again, where it's just like, okay, it's three idols, it's Splatoon, and just get to the story now, get to the gameplay, get past all that. Come on now. Who cares about these three? And I really was like, okay, it is what it is. I guess I don't matter. But I really was shocked, again, to see how much story they go into with these characters and how much they show us with each and every one. With different boss battles that are in this game, they will send one idol with you that you are locked into. You have to use those idols in the robot that is a part of this gameplay, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But with each and every one of them, you get to learn a little bit more about their personalities, you get to learn about their backgrounds, and the more you use the characters, you get to unlock different scrolls that tell you more about them. Just like every other Splatoon game, the lore is absolutely insane. There are so many things that the average playthrough would never tell you all on its own unless you were very intently looking for it and deciphering and looking through all these scrolls. It is quite the immersive experience if you really go all out. This is very much a gameplay focused game. You're not here for a Last of Us type story, but the story that it does give you, the dialogue, the lines, are very charming, as Nintendo tends to do with these types of games, and the idols are really fun to be around. I still don't think personally they meet the high standards of Pearl and Marina that I have in my heart. Maybe that's nostalgia, I don't know, but I really do think now they are equal to Callie and Marie's dynamic and them as characters. So yeah, the story is very basic. You are going to these islands, you crash land, you get stuck, you play as the mechanic. You are the mechanic. You are basically the fourth member of Deep Cut, and at the very end of this game, you kind of get to do a little bit of a fun pose to be a part of the squad. It's very cute. They go from not trusting you all that much to being like, hey, this guy's pretty cool. So you join their squad and you help them out. You go from location to location, usually an island after an island around this big circle, and you basically defeat a bunch of salmonids, and that is all there is to it. And yet that is so incredible because the most simple ideas tend to be the best. That is where we get into the gameplay. If you are not a fan of Salmon Run, or even just an average Salmon Run player, like you, okay, I like Splatoon, but you prefer the main modes like myself more than you did Salmon Run, this game may not have seemed as appealing to you, and maybe that's why it wasn't super appealing to me, because it just kind of looked like more Salmon Run, but not with that specific mode, not with a timer, just in this area on these islands. But no, my friends, it is so much deeper than that. So the islands all stay the same. You go from one island to another, and those missions tend to be the exact same. Like I said, the campaign style from Splatoon 1, 2, and 3 is very much present in this. You're going from a linear location to a linear location, you're going through each level, and you are defeating the enemies that pop up in front of you. You have your various random Splatoon weapons that are very much repurposed in this game. All of them are not the same. That like a Squiffer won't look like a Squiffer. A splatter shot isn't going to look like your basic splatter shot. It's going to have like a soapy bottle on it, and the actual bottleneck is going to look like the end of your gun. Like, it is so incredible. Even though they're the same weapons, they function the same, and they were technically able to reuse those assets, the actual visuals look different, and they are very much spruced up to be island-like. The umbrella's back in Splatoon is not a typical umbrella here. It's like leaves and stuff that are over the actual umbrella itself. It's just really charming. But with these different weapons, they are all the same, right? But the difference, the main difference, and this was what I couldn't wrap my head around. I was like, why does this game exist? Not just because they wanted to make another Splatoon game, but what is the core idea here? What is the philosophy behind this game? I don't know if I was just zoning out in all the trailers, but I didn't get it until I got my hands on it. It's the different tanks. You have a tank on your back, and you get to pick between a speed tank, a power tank, and a tactical tank. This is where the game goes from a regular Splatoon campaign, something that you might have paid 20 to 30 bucks for a side campaign in the past, to a full-blown experience that you just have to have if you've never played a Splatoon game, or if you have and want more. This is the perfect entry point to the series because it introduces you to the basic mechanics without throwing you into the multiplayer side of things if you aren't a fan of that gameplay. It expands the series in ways I could have never dreamed, to the point where I can't even imagine another Splatoon game without these tanks, without this amount of customizable gameplay. For example, the speed tank, I don't remember the gadget names, but you can apply different gadgets to each and every one of these tanks. The speed tank will allow you to add gadgets to it that are themed around movement, mobility. You're basically going from island to island, picking up these different spiralite crystals. You get those crystals and you're able to use them and spend them to create different gadgets. So you kind of work your way up, you're unlocking all these gadgets one at a time. All the while, everything around you is getting unlocked more and more. The very raft that you sit on will get bigger and bigger and bigger. I couldn't believe how big it got at the end. And so that just creates a very satisfying game loop where you're like, all right, here I am at the start. I've got one tank, I've got one or two different gadgets, and I'm just using them. I'm getting used to it, trying to figure it all out. And by the end, you've got one tank with 3 different gadgets that you can even apply from different types of tanks. But with the speed tank, for example, you have one that lets you slingshot in one direction. You have another one that basically creates a big explosion around you but propels you forward. Another one where you have a massive jump. You go from one side of the map essentially to the other and you land with a big explosion. And another one that has to do with basically throwing multiple boomerangs, and they come right back to you. They mess up everything around you. They go through like shielded enemies, which is super nice. These gadgets are great. The power tank has very similar ones to where it's basically just you're trying to attack. And then the tactical ones are more around your brains. You can have basically 2 different splatter shots that you throw on the ground at once, and it just stays there stationary, and it hones in on whatever, aims in on whatever enemies are coming up to it. The special weapon in Splatoon 1, that whale weapon where it basically just shot out a crazy blast, it is in this game, and it is back as a tactical gadget where you throw it down and the beam, the whaling beam, follows you. There's just so much going on with these tanks, with these gadgets, and with each gadget, you can customize basically features of it. With the power tank, I think the best gadget in the entire game has to do with adding these little bubbles of ink around you. They spin around you at all times. If you upgrade it enough, you can make it to where it will basically kill any and all things around you, and also pick up every single power egg around you. And once you get that big enough, that circumference big enough, that becomes an extremely useful ability that you almost have to have at all times. I think the tactical tank is probably my favorite. I've spent a lot of time with all 3, upgraded all of them fully. But it's just really helpful to know that I am a unit in and of myself that can destroy as many salmonids that come my way, and also have these different things that help support me. And the tactical and power tank are interchangeable with 1 gadget, so I use 2 tactical ones and then the 1 gadget that basically puts all of that ink around me, like I said. That pretty much makes me unstoppable in most of this game. Starting out, I was just like, this game is fine, you know, it's got some cool gadgets, it's got some cool stuff, the islands are engaging enough, and deep cut is fine. But the more I played, the deeper it got, the more difficult it got. I realized how incredible this experience actually was. Because that whole tank system is revolutionary all on its own. We keep forgetting, I think, as Splatoon fans, just how incredible that game's mechanics all on its own are. How weird it is to just think, okay, I am a squid or an octo, and I'm basically shooting ink on the ground and turning into that squid octo form to go into the ink and then coming back up as a humanoid, which of course plays into the crazy lore of this game and this whole series. But that gameplay is so satisfying in and of itself. Just making sure all of your ink covers everything gives you a huge advantage. You can climb up walls, you can like dash through and around. The movement is incredible. And when you're faced with hundreds and hundreds of enemies and really big and powerful salmonids, and some that are totally brand new to this game, some that are totally abominable, it becomes such an incredible experience. The gameplay customization, the story itself, the crazy boss fights that come your way, I mean, the bosses alone make this game special. They started to introduce boss salmonids into Splatoon 3, I believe, and it became a big event where all of you were trying to take down this big boss all on its own. That is really where I think a lot of inspiration came for Raiders. Because it's kind of the same here with the boss salmonid in this game. You have a big health bar at the top and you just do whatever you can to kill it before the time's up. There are some really cool set pieces with those big boss fights, and especially towards the end, it really is great. No, I don't think the story and that final boss will ever rival Octo expansion. I don't know if anything will ever do that, but it's pretty dang close to one of the best in the series. It's got to be at least top 3. And of all the single player campaigns, I definitely think Splatoon Raiders is better than all of them. And there's a ton of content here as well. The story itself isn't super long. I mean, you could probably beat it in like 5 to 15 hours if you were really grinding. Maybe 10 to 20 is more realistic. But every single level that you go to, every single compass that you find that helps you unlock stuff on the map, every little bit of this game, you can go back to it and it will have what they call spicy levels and then like super spicy levels. Those super ultra spicy levels are insanely difficult and you have to get up to like very, very high levels to even attempt them. And also there's a ton of post-game content. Once you beat that final boss, I'm pretty sure you could literally play this game endlessly, and that's not me exaggerating. Like, you can genuinely play this game forever and there will continuously be new content. Again, not even being exaggerating, that's not hyperbole, that is literally a fact. This is a forever game. And kind of going back to the gameplay and story a little bit combined here at the end of this section, I want to talk about Deep Cut and their individual abilities. You not only get to use them in that robot, but that is a key part of this game as well. It follows you around, whoever you brought with you, Shiverfry or Big Man, and each of them have their own abilities. Big Man lets you essentially ride on his back and you become invincible and you can destroy all these enemies within like a 10-second time frame. Shiver brings out her Master Meg, which is a huge great white, bro. This thing is massive and it just pops up right in front of you and you get to aim it and it will boost forward and literally destroy anything in its path. And then Fry's is honestly a little bit more tactical. I thought it was the worst, and it probably is at times, but if you use it right, it can be very powerful as well. She has all of her different eels, and they will appear out of the sky and basically pummel the ground one at a time. So it's not like one big attack or a very long invincible attack. It's just you kind of going around, and at the very end there is kind of like a very special, like boom, one big one comes to the ground. But still, it's probably the weakest, even though they're all great. But that showstopper ability is basically your special attack in this game, and that is such a fun way for them to represent special attacks in this game, because it's basically camaraderie. The more you use those, the more you get to unlock scrolls and learn about your friends, learn about Deep Cut. The more you get to learn about them, you get scrolls, you read about them, and then vice versa with all the other ones. You get to learn about everybody before you essentially become a part of the crew. It's a really, really satisfying gameplay loop that ties into the story and makes you want to try each and every one of them out. I really wasn't digging Fry's showstopper ability, and I did not care, but once I found out I needed her to basically upgrade that ability and then unlock more information about her, boy, I was all over it. I was all over all of them. So yeah, just a very genius idea. And of course, there's other stuff in terms of customization that I didn't even come close to diving into. You can upgrade your weapons. You can upgrade your weapons. You can basically scrap them for more spiralite crystals. You can use those crystals to then put them back into your weapons or gadgets. You can make gadgets to then super buff your tanks, or you can buff up your tanks, and it's just, there's just so much you can do that I really want you to go and find out for yourself. Next, we need to talk about the visuals. So many people have said, why couldn't this game have been on the Nintendo Switch? And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was initially developed for that game. But it's one of those things where it's like the visuals are very solid. They're not knock you out of the park solid, but they're very solid. Honestly, it is a little bit of a tiny upgrade from Splatoon 3, but not that much of an upgrade. The raw processing power here is what you're really getting the benefit of the Switch 2 for. There is so much that happens all at once on the screen. Sometimes you have literally hundreds of things going on, hundreds of salmonid and hundreds of attacks blasting you from every angle, and there's not a single stutter. There's not a single frame drop or resolution drop. Like, everything is great. And on the Switch, there's no way. It just couldn't have happened. Visually, it's very stylistic, as all the other Splatoon games are, but honestly, it doesn't speak to me that much. There are different areas. There's like a lava area, there's a freezing area, and then of course there's your regular tropical islands. That's pretty much it. So there isn't a whole lot of unique visual identity here, but for there to be lava in this game and confirmed in the Splatoon universe is pretty cool. We've not seen that before. So visually, it's really solid, but it's not spectacular. But in terms of all the raw processing, in terms of the gameplay, letting you push it to its limits and it never breaks, never even stutters an inch, it's wildly impressive. Then lastly, with the music, I don't know how to describe it. This is not a soundtrack you're gonna be bumping afterwards. You're not gonna be thinking like, oh man, what's that tune, and playing it in your playlist. It's kind of grungy. Like, imagine the Salmon Run music that plays the same couple themes over and over and over again, but just like more obnoxious and constantly playing throughout a big single player experience and never really changes. I've heard a lot of people say that it's not that great, and to be honest with you, I don't have as much of a problem with it. I never once thought this is bad. I just always thought like, this is it. Because Splatoon, the whole concept of these idols, of this idol group to begin with, is the idea of togetherness. How somehow, some way, these things mutated from humans after they all died out, and boom, they come back to experience human culture. There's fashion, there's music. It makes a big deal out of it. And even with these characters, like with Deep Cut, they talk about inviting you to their concert and letting you hear them sing and how big of a deal they are. And I don't know, for something that's so ingrained into the culture of this universe and something that's so ingrained into the DNA of Splatoon, for there to not be any varied soundtracks, for there to not really be any big themes outside of maybe the final boss, I don't know, it's not necessarily disappointing per se, but they definitely could have done more. I just think that they really did fit the theme of this game, with it being very grungy and very in your face and obnoxious at sometimes, but at the same time, it could have been so much better. But again, the reason anyone cares about this game, the reason anyone would go out and buy it and play it for super long like I did, is because of the gameplay. And Nintendo, boy, they are nothing if not masters of the game. So who would I recommend this game to? Obviously, if you are a Splatoon fan in any way, shape, or form, this is an experience you have got to get in on, especially for that $50 digital price tag, $60 digitally. This game is a steal. If you love the series, you'll love this game. You'll get even more gameplay, even more story and more out of deep cut, which is something I desperately wanted. And if you've never played a Splatoon game before, honestly, if you think the concept looks interesting, this is probably one of your best bets into getting into this gameplay. I think a lot of people consider Splatoon 3 and they say, I would love to get into it, but I know if I get it, I'm gonna get killed, because it's been like 3-4 years since that game initially launched, and because of that, there are only a lot of really good players left and not a ton of casuals, because of course, if you've been playing it for 3-4 years, you're gonna be good at it. So even while I would say go ahead and get Splatoon 3, get some of that DLC, get some stuff in the past, like this game is the perfect entry point as someone who has a Switch 2 and is just looking for something to play this summer, because this game, I know we're coming up on the end of summer, but this game oozes summer vibes. Like that's a really big part of this game, is the beautiful ocean water and all these different islands. It just gives you a tropical feel, and of course all the bright colors make me feel like summer is here. If you're the type of person that does enjoy shooters, like third person especially, this is a very creative way to get into the series. It's a very creative type of shooting game. It's not like Portal, but I want you to think Portal with enemies, because it's a little bit more than just pointing and shooting. Like there's a lot to go on here. There's a little bit of that puzzle aspect, not a ton of it, but just a tiny bit, enough to make you interested more than just going from level to level and constantly pressing your trigger. But I will say that is the bulk of this game, is going from place to place, beating up on enemies, getting rewards, and coming back. If that gameplay loop doesn't hit with you, if you're not the type of person that enjoys very repetitive tasks, you're not gonna love this game, to be honest, because even though there is a ton of depth, that depth only works if you click with the initial gameplay. And if you're just like, this doesn't even look fun, I've played similar types of experiences before and I don't really care about it, then no, you're not gonna love this. I will also say though, I almost forgot personally because Nintendo just didn't market this, but you can play this game multiplayer, and even if you don't have friends to play with, you can basically have a call for help button and another player that's playing right now online will come and assist you in real time. I think that's a really fun and cute mode to just kind of get you in and out of the game with other people. And if you do decide to play this game through with somebody else, that is also a really fun experience. The core of Splatoon's gameplay was always designed to be multiplayer. This single player avenue is very fun, but of course that multiplayer stuff, that's where it's been. So again, if you're looking for another relatively cheap first-party game with very polished, very high quality, and you want to play it by yourself, get into it, or grab a friend, Raiders is going to be for you. So yeah, it's a very unique spin on the series. I think it's really good, and I would recommend this to most people. Well, if you enjoyed today's review, thank you so much for making it to the end. Make sure you click on that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Please consider joining my membership program, a few bucks a month, just to help support me as a content creator and the channel overall. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click on the left side of your screen to see why a Switch 2 is a must buy, and click on the right side of your screen to see what a potential Mario Galaxy 3 could look like. That's all I got for you today. Thanks for making it to the end. You're amazing. I hope you have yourself a phenomenal day. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and I'll see you all in the next video.